Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to Rise Up, but after dark.
After dark.
Today is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
It's one of the days.
I saw May on my calendar. Oh my God, can we do a take two?
Put your calendar away. I thought you were supposed to be focused
Wednesday, May 14th, 13th. Oh my God.
Jesus, Evan. All right, from the top.
I know you guys were away for a while, but like, did you just decide to take all of your skills and just throw them out the window? I know I was doing a great job as a host.
No, you did great. So
you guys were like, we can just have Will do this all the time.
From the top. Oh crap!
I think you mean good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to Rise Up After Dark.
Solano says it's okay. He's new. It is true.
I've never done it today, and today is May 13th. It's a Wednesday, which means it is time to let our hair down, BYOB, DYOR, and talk a little shit with our friends about the crypto industry. Alex, Will, how the heck are you tonight?
Will, you always go
Cut
first.
off a little bit there, but you know what? I'm excited too.
Stunned,
Alex.
speechless.
Stunned, speechless. Well, I lost a little bit of audio here, so I'm not sure if that was me thing or not, but I'm excited to be here.
It happened to you this morning once or twice.
Yeah, it did. It happens once or twice. You know, this is going to be the last show I'm doing it from this office. No, today's... God, Evan, you threw me off. I was like, wait, no, today's Monday, which means I have so many more days here. No, I'll be here for one more day, and then I'll finally be back down in Boston and have my regular good quality internet, even though I'm connected to Ethernet now. But no, dude, it's great to be back with both of you. It has felt weird not talking to both of you throughout like a week and a half because we've been doing it for what, a year and a half, 2 years now? How long have we been doing this for now?
After dark?
No, I mean like us together.
Fact check yourself.
It's longer. It's longer than that.
3 years?
You know, we were doing this.
It can't be that long.
We were doing this. So
two-ish.
there's 52 weeks in a year, and we're not quite on episode 100. This is episode 79 of Rise Up After Dark. I suspect we've been doing it since, Alex, you and I came back from Prague in December 2024. Does that sound about right to you? Were we doing After Dark then when we went to the conference?
Oh, I don't know if we were doing
November
After Dark
24.
then. Yeah. We were doing the shows together.
Yes. Yeah. After Dark was new, and now we've got 4 bouncing, beautiful baby shows.
Baby shows.
Beautiful baby shows. Exactly. What are you guys drinking tonight? I'm having 2 Chicks sparkling citrus margarita, and then I have a vodka limoncello yuzu cocktail. The show is not sponsored by 2 Chicks, but
some flavors of the Isle of Japan, I see.
Yeah. Okay, I'm starting off the night with one gwump. I just want y'all to know.
I was like, did we gwump the flavors of Japan? I was like,
no, the flavors of Japan. 2 Chicks got a ding, and flavors of Japan got a ding. And every time you hear that sound, somebody speaking has gotten a point. Somebody who we're speaking about, and if you hear this sound, man, somebody's losing a point. That is technically known as a gwump. And at the end of the night, if somebody wins or loses an arbitrary amount of points, they'll get some fabulous canned applause. Alex, I rugged you, I think, on your how are you? So let me make up for it with a little point to sweeten the deal as you tell me how the heck you're doing, man.
Great. Had a good day. I did some gardening, and that was wonderful and therapeutic.
So imagine you gardening is fascinating. I imagine all black overalls, an all black straw hat somehow,
an all black sun hat, yeah.
And then you have like one of those long pieces of like, you know, just like long grass, you know what I'm talking about?
But it's also black.
It's also black. Yes, exactly. You saw exactly where I was going with this. Yes, excellent. Wonderful. And then it's not flowers. It's just potatoes in like a small, very manicured garden because you know it just
Alex and his
potatoes.
potatoes.
Dude, potatoes. If you've never grown potatoes, it's wild. You just plant a plant, and the potatoes just spawn in the ground close to them, and you just pull them straight out of the ground. They're not connected to anything. The first time I ever did it, it was wild.
Yeah, you know what's
incredible.
You know what's annoying is So when I was a kid, my grandparents, like my mom grew up on a farm, like homespun clothes and all that kind of stuff, but like land rich, but like financially poor. And so traditional Irish family, during the summertime when there was the large harvest, all the grandkids came, all the cousins came. My mom was one of 6 or 7. And then all of them had 1 million kids, yada, yada, yada. So traditional Irish family. And in the summertime, I was there and helping to pick the potatoes because that's the big crop. And so the thing is most of your time isn't spent planting or picking potatoes. Most of your time is spent, if you're not using fertilizer, having your grandchildren, an army of them, walk through with a tin bucket and hand pick off potato bugs. And there'd be like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 leaves on a potato plant. And then you turn the leaf over and you could have 1 or 2 of these like little colorful like ticks, kind of like they look like a grosser ladybug, and there could be like 1 or 2 of them, or like 20 on one leaf. And we have thousands of potatoes, and we just go through and you'd grab each one of these little bugs and you'd throw them as hard as you could into the tin can, and they would explode when they hit the metal. And so that was like how my grandparents like made it a game for the kids. It's like, explode the potato bugs. And like, I love that game. And then you'd be out there for like 7 hours tricks. As you just
the hack,
explode these like ladybug sized potato bugs.
The hack I'm getting from this is an army of grandchildren.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, could be the move.
Of this.
Mm-hmm.
This is a gross misrepresentation.
Free child labor is great if
Amen.
They're family.
Okay, if you have a crypto question, a suggestion, a good joke, a word of wisdom, something else, let us know. Leave it in the comments or head to where the show lives 24/7. I'm talking about community.rumshq.com. It's the link in our bios wherever you are, whenever you listen. I do want to give out a quick ding and a gwump and something I've never done before, which is a new sound for some of the comments. We've got Will, says Bearded, gets 4 dings for carrying the show last week.
I was hoping you guys weren't going to see that comment.
Also, the Nutcracker, who says, "I'm on the toilet. I wasn't sure if to give that a ding or a glump, so I just gave it a." And Letters in Bloom says, "I love it here. We love having you here. Really, truly, you're the very best part of what we do." Coming in hot, Katina Marone says, "Do we think Clarity passes tomorrow?" Which brings me to a proposition I have before you get into it, which is, I think we should drink every time somebody says Clarity Act tonight, and need to know, Alex, you've been reading it. What page first are you on?
I'm done.
I'm done.
Are you done because it's over, or done because you're over it?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
309 is the page count on this document?
Correct.
Whoa.
Correct.
Okay, and you say no, not going to pass tomorrow.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, then.
What a thrilling segment, everybody. Thank you. Now we can move on.
That's our show. See you guys tomorrow.
Ripping higher. Let's all go to the chart.
Let me add a quick disclaimer that so far the Clarity Act has been an absolute dumpster fire and a clown circus all rolled into one. So it could just randomly pass tomorrow. It shouldn't. It probably won't. I don't think it will. It would be insane if it did. But it easily could, because we live in the upside down and nothing matters.
Hey, if it passes, I'm really glad I have some Circle stock.
Seriously.
That'll pump.
Yeah, it is hard to say. I still think that it is a buy the rumor, sell the news, but we don't know when the sell the news thing is going to happen. You could see a residual. I mean, overall, it is a really diabolically complicated and problematic bill. There's a lot of issues. After reading it, I don't know how anybody could be excited about it. There's some parts in there that are pretty cool, and then they're usually contradicted 3 or 4 pages later with some other nonsense that seems like it belongs in a different piece of legislation. And I think this thing is just going to end up, like I've been saying for weeks now, just in a giant legal quagmire with a whole bunch of lawsuits. So, yeah.
Smooth sailing.
Yep.
So you're telling me there's
going to be great.
Okay, well,
be great.
We'll certainly check in with you tomorrow. Do we know what the deadline is for like the bill to be voted on, all the different amendments?
There are so many amendments that I don't even know if procedurally you can technically get to all of them. I think that one of the Democratic tactics right now, given that they didn't really get what they wanted with regards to the ethics amendment and some other problems that they've identified, I think that it's a procedural tactic to flood the floor with so many amendments that you cannot possibly get to them unless there's some sort of like crazy, juke by the majority leader to subvert all of that. But since it's still in committee, it's really hard to say because it's not like going to the full floor. So honestly, like I said, we're in the upside down. Quite literally anything could happen, but this bill has no business passing tomorrow.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight this comment from Crypto Boat, friend of the show, good to see you, who says, I hate the confusion the Clarity Act is bringing. And then we have got, oh, come on, the Democrats got Iran, and PB Jelly, who says Warren alone did 40. I wanted to highlight this reporting from Eleanor Tourette. Pardon me, Eleanor, if I'm saying your name improperly, but she is
Eleanor is truly out here doing the king's business.
Let me tell you what, she is an excellent scooper.
I don't know when she sleeps. I don't think
like
she does.
Baskin Robbins, like serving the scoop. This is a scooplet on X. Search that name, spell it the best you can. She has shared them all, the submission of more than 100 amendments to the Clarity Act, and she's highlighting a list of the specific amendments from another excellent source, the DeFi Education Fund. They've got this great tweet that lists all of them, or at least some of the most notable ones.
I hope that we can all like commiserate with me crying at the fact that I just got through all 309 pages and now there's 100 amendments that I have to read.
Loser.
And
I'm so glad. And he can't even read.
I can't even read, guys. It's
well,
awesome.
some of them, seriously, no. We heard it said on the show on Trust Issues and on the show this morning. None of us can. Don't tell anybody. But there was one particular that stood out. Eleanor did some of the scooping for you here, Alex. Here's a serving. She said one that stands out. You guys talked yesterday about like the different allowances for like yield or loyalty points or payments, and another one she says stands out is from Senator Jack Reed, an amendment that, quote, prohibits crypto from being used as legal tender, for example, to pay taxes. Can you imagine? Wow. So not only can you not get yield from it if this passes, but you're not going to be able to use your USDC, your Bitcoin, anything. I mean, what's to stop them then from letting any other kind of payment get run under the steamroller of the law?
Yeah.
You got to remember, none of this has been written by anybody who truly knows what they're writing about. It's also, when a bill this size gets written, it's not like a bunch of people sit down together and write a bill together. You have a bunch of people who write little bits and pieces of Frankenstein-esque legislation, and then they cram them all together, and then they yell at each other about whose amendments get to stay in and whose bits and pieces get to stay there. And then, like I said, I have not read a single one of these amendments yet. I haven't seen any of them.
I wanted to share one more thing from DeFi Education Fund. They said today a coalition of 100 plus signatories join DEF, that's them, in sending a letter to Congress that software developer protections are non-negotiable digital asset market structure, a part of market structure legislation. And look at some of these names. In alphabetical order, they had Aptos, Aave, now we're in the ends, Solana Policy Institute, South Dakota Blockchain Institute, Stand with Crypto, Digital Chamber. They're coming faster than I can read them. A16Z, Aerodrome, Aleo, Anchorage Digital, Anagram, ANSA, Aptos Labs. It's just like boom, 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 name after name after name, because I know people are going to ask, what can we do about it? And the answer really is talk to your elected official, talk to your representative. You don't have much time left to make your voice heard, but let them know that you might have some concerns or problems. Alex, is there a particular initiative you've seen? Maybe we can look at what our friends Stand with Crypto are saying. I hate just telling people to blindly go do what other people tell you. I know Stand with Crypto, for example, is compiling or updating its recommendations on these things, but I don't have a good source to recommend that. I don't want to pass off responsibility to say, just do what they tell you.
Yeah. I mean, it's because
we don't have time to read the whole bill though.
No, but what you can do is copy and paste the PDF from the Senate Banking Committee's website into your favorite LLM and at least ask it some questions. It's better than nothing. You can also control F on the PDF itself and like look for words that, you know, might have to do with something that you care about in particular, and then, you know, complain about that when it's written poorly. But it's kind of hard to, I mean, genuinely, this is kind of one of those things. You sort of have to like pick a person that you identify with, that you trust to be objective. And if they're reading this kind of stuff and you don't feel like slogging through, you know, hours and hours and hours of mud, then you kind of just have to listen to them.
Check this out, guys. Stand with Crypto did make a post, and I don't know how I feel about it. It says, nearly 1 million advocates are represented by senators on the banking committee to give them a voice. Our state chapter presidents personally sent letters urging these senators to vote yes on the Clarity Act up for markup tomorrow. It's time for clarity. And I don't know if this is in light of the amendments, because this is 9 hours ago.
So no,
But
it's not.
some of those amendments are really troubling, but I would expect them to have said something updated. They want support the Clarity Act. That's their official stance, and they're amplifying people who say that. I don't feel good about that.
Yeah, this is one of those things that I would have, I do have reservations about. Anyone in the industry that is advocating for the passage of this shitstorm in its current form, especially, I think has an ulterior motive to just like get, I don't know, what are we doing? We're currying political favor with people.
Yeah, look, there's Mike.
Yeah.
Who we interviewed in Denver.
Yeah, Mike, what the hell? What are we doing? I like what I really genuinely want to know. I would have to look at that thing that they wrote. What is it about this thing that has you excited?
After hearing you guys talk about it, after seeing the coverage of it today, the argument I've heard is that they want some sort of legal precedent. But again, I feel like it's only harmful if the thing it's enshrining is taking our rights away, infringing on our rights, or relegating the right to use this stuff in a particular sanctioned way to basically tech companies, the Klarnas of the world. Emily's rant about Klarna bucks and Klarna shoes was spot on. It's, in my mind, like a type of legal robbery.
Listen, at this point, you just have to understand that the loudest voices and a huge chunk of the crypto industry is no longer fighting for the same ethos that crypto was designed for, and what is ultimately leading, in this case, I think, Stand With Crypto as well, even though we have some friends there. They have their own ulterior motives. And you get a messaging that does not align with the ethos, and they want you to see, vote for this, it's good, and then not ask follow-up questions, and you keep scrolling, but you heard, vote for this, this is good, or let this go through, or you like your representative who does the XYZ, and you know, people don't have time to go through and actually look through it and realize it's bad for them. And that's just where a large bit of our space has gone. And I think you guys saw that reflected in the audience of consensus from what I've heard, although I still need to get a deep dive from you guys later on that. I need to go watch the episode. And then also what Erica experienced at the Bitcoin conference as well. It's, you know, the suits are here, retail's beat up, and they've kind of left.
Shout out to Erica for sure for having what I would call quite literally the best coverage of Bitcoin Vegas that I saw from anywhere, whether it was a creator or a professional outlet, with a whole gaggle of journalists. Hers was the best coverage I saw, bar none.
That is Perk Insights on TikTok, our friend Erica. She also covered, I forget the name of the event, the summit in El Salvador, where she's been involved for a while. That's like a really, if you imagine Bitcoin Vegas as one kind of conference, this is like the opposite. Much more innovation focused, policy focused, business focused. It was really cool. She had a clip she aired today about a restaurateur who is talking about just Bitcoinization and legislation, and it was insightful, helpful. She's great.
Yeah, fantastic.
The last thing I want to say about it is just DeFi is obviously an alternative to this, but Alex, to your point, I've heard you say a couple of times in the last few days, it is a riskier alternative. And instead of helping protect people who want to use those things, we are sort of sanctioning a super centralized version that enriches corporations and saying, yeah, I guess you can do that other stuff, but basically, you know, Here's my best blessing, pin to your collar, and good luck.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like running out of different ways to
running
say
out
that
of takes.
This thing.
Sorry.
Yeah, really, truly. I mean, it's fine. We'll see what happens. I do think, I mean, my prediction is that these 100 amendments are mostly gobbledygook and nonsense. Typically a tactic like this, like I said, is intended to scare people because even at 5 minutes per amendment, which is, generous or very optimistic, that's more than 8 hours of deliberation just on getting through those 8, which is going to run you out procedurally through the entire day anyway. So, the people who submit them have to withdraw them. So typically when this happens, the party who submits them does it to scare the other party into listening to the, 10, 15, whatever % of those amendments chunks they actually give a shit about. And then the other 75, 80, whatever % get withdrawn as theater. You got to remember, most of what Congress does is a game to them. They're just fucking around. So, and trying to make a point. So we'll see how many of them actually make it to the floor and get debated on. My speculation is that there's a handful they care about and a bunch of nonsense, filler, fluffy bullshit. And they're going to want to, they're going to withdraw those, if they actually feel like they're going to get what they want. But I think that it's being done as a knee jerk because the draft that came out didn't include any of the shit that they were trying to get included in there beforehand. So we'll see what happens.
Emily says, barring yield payments is the issue. They're barring yield payments. They don't want to give you the yield.
Because they don't fucking have to.
Yeah, well, there's that, and there's no ethics clause. And that was up there too.
Shameful.
Yep.
All right. I have a couple of other things I wanted to share with you guys just for a reaction. And one of them, what do you think about this, is a story from a man, CPRKRN, on Twitter. And I'm just going to read this to you. I am not sure if this is true or not. We haven't verified with on-chain evidence, but he says, holy fucking shit. OMG, Claude just cracked this shit. Thank you, Anthropic AI. Thank you, Dario Amade. I'm naming my kid after you. Oh, and there it is, blockchain.com. He's got an Explorer address. We'll verify in a second. It's Claude saying, let me check. BTC recovers second pass decryption. It is encrypting and finding a password. Oh, excuse me. It's recovering Bitcoin with a password it found in a note on an old laptop. This guy got a wallet on blockchain.com, found this old mnemonic a few weeks ago. It was the old password before he changed it. He says, thought I was screwed. Last ditch effort, dumped my whole college computer into Claude. It found an old wallet file with that mnemonic and successfully decrypted it.
Hell yeah.
I was locked out for 11 years because I got stoned and changed the password. The password, he said, it was LOL 420 fuck the police exclamation point asterisk smiley face. And Claude was able to find it for him. He got 5 Bitcoin out of this thing that he thought was gone for years. So to you, my friend. Oh, wait. Maybe it was 16 Bitcoin. Oh my God. Can you believe that?
Incredible.
That is absolutely no. I'm sorry. It was 5. It was 5. It was 5.
Still.
Yeah, post was 5.
I mean, that is just. So I guess if you've lost your Bitcoin wallet, you lost your password, whatever, just copy your old hard drives onto it and tell Claude, do not make any mistakes. And in fact, that's what intern Matthew Wiley said. Hey, Anthropic AI, I also have a wallet whose keys I forgot. Its nickname is William Watson. Could you decrypt that for me? Make no mistakes. And we've got some of William's funny money here for the reward. It'll go to somebody who can decrypt that thing successfully. Look at that. Matthew, a note to you. I need Will's money where it says play money because Will's money don't play.
No, but my money will be given away to people who win silly chart art competitions that we host every now and again. So,
or if they recover 5 Bitcoin for you, I would gladly give you $100. Or if you recover
5 Bitcoin for me, I'll give you $100 of this pretend money that has my face on it for sure.
Claude, recover Will's Bitcoin for me. Make no mistakes.
Make no mistakes.
Oh my gosh. Alex, you got into a little bit of an adventure today.
Sure. That's one word for it.
You want to tell people what you were up to before Rise Up After Dark?
Yeah. So I've said this before and I'll say it again, just, for posterity. I'm chronically online and I see a lot more than people think I do. And one of the things that I witnessed today was a live stream. And on this live stream, we were talking about a pump.fun shitter that has been going through a bit of a rough patch. And the things that were admitted on stream by the proprietor of this particular pump.fun shitter, I mean, I'm trying to, I guess diabolical again. Like I feel like I've been saying that word way too much, but like truly mind-blowing stuff.
The hardest working word in show business.
Yeah. So just from the top, I just wanted to make a couple things clear. And this is sort of like generalized advice as to why, in my personal and humble opinion, you should avoid any cryptocurrency that ends or that's contract address ends with PUMP. So this particular individual stated, and these are like quotes from the stream.
You can't say who this is,
I think we know.
but you can't say.
But you
for
can't
people
say.
listening 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when he's faded into obscurity.
Wasn't quite as revolutionary as we were maybe led to believe it could be.
It wasn't as revolutionary in crypto?
Yeah. Turns out that the revolution may have been exaggerated just a little bit. So the person in charge, the proprietor here, was really upset that while they were off working, apparently 20-hour days on this thing, people got irritated and fed up and started to sell. Naturally, as the price went down because of the selling, the proprietor decided he had nothing he could possibly do except dump his own bags, which led to more panic, which cratered the token. And then he rebought at the bottom to take control over a much more significant percentage of the supply. And just for the record, there's a couple things here that are on the table as potentially problematic. So I'm going to just read you a few notes that you can Google and see what the punishments are for breaking these particular laws. Because admitting to breaking these laws on stream is absolutely insane. And I feel less bad because I told this person to their face that they were breaking the law. And since then, absolutely not a single thing has changed in terms of like their methods for selling this. So they are aware. Wire fraud. That's 18 US code 1343. Securities fraud, which is 15 US code 78J subsection B, which is paired with one of the SEC rules. And I'll write this in the circle if you want to look these up. SEC rule 10B through 5. Then the Commodity Exchange Act and the CFTC fraud regulation framework, 7 US code section 9. And then there's a few famous cases, notably a 2024 case in which the United States prosecuted a Solana pump and dump founder. And then Operation Token Mirrors, which was a joint FBI and DOJ investigation and crypto fraud sting run in 2024. These ended with people in prison. It's just a meme was not a viable defense. The fact that the person said not financial advice also, go figure, does not hold up in court. And the people who get hurt the most are the people who spend their time and attention trying to make something like this work when they're playing a game that is rigged against them from the start. Fortunately, token addresses are public information, and if it ends with pump, just leave it alone. They just don't work. Not to mention, the potential securities violation of this whole thing really rests on the way that the thing was sold. And this particular proprietor on stream again today said, you're not buying a meme coin, you're buying the IPO of my business. I promise he's not registered. Yeah.
Oh, God. He's like, no, this will make it seem way more legit. That's the opposite of what you want to do, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
God.
a securities offering. And if it's not registered properly, it's securities fraud. And then depending on where the money, this part I don't know, but depending on where the money went and how it was handled and where it was sent and to whom from where, there's also potentially money laundering. We're talking like 20 plus years in federal prison if all of these things went through. If these charges were all brought. I would recommend that if you're a person who's been caught up in one of these things and you were lied to and misled, don't let someone who did the lying and the misleading bully you into thinking it was all your fault. They do have responsibility as the creator and the seller and the advertiser, and you absolutely do have recourse. And if you would like information about how you can file a complaint with the FBI Financial Crimes Division or the SEC whistleblower line or the CFTC whistleblower line. So, do yourself a favor if you're a holder of any of these things, any of these, creator-led tokens, and ask that person if they're at all concerned about how many laws they've broken. Because I have yet to see a single content creator token that was started on one of these pump fund or pump fund-like places that wasn't illegal. And
so
that's
what
my
you're
PSA.
telling me is that he's not going to interview Eric Trump?
Yeah, what's happening to all the celebrity interviews, man? I was
Yeah,
waiting
all
for
those celebrity interviews.
Michael Saylor or something.
When he came on our show and he was like, yeah, dude, we're working on Michael Saylor. We got Eric Trump lined up to interview, all that stuff. And I was like, you come on our show and you do this. And then I was just thinking of the Michael Jordan meme. And then I took that personally.
So Mark Carmichael in the comments over here says, just for him saying that he sold goes against the token saying that the dev holds 0%. So just for the record, the action of the owner and proprietor of a token like this selling, which can then create panic and hysteria inside of holders, which then will lead to them selling, which is predictable on part of the dev, the seller, the proprietor, and then the token crashing in price when then the original seller, the proprietor, comes back in and rebuys that supply after that creator. That is a CFTC market manipulation. That's fraud plain as day. And the fact that it was then purchased again could be then used to construe and attempt to prove premeditation in court, which is it just makes the whole thing worse. So yeah, really bad.
Other than that, he's fine.
Yeah, other than admitting to 4 federal crimes that I could count in the span of 25 minutes on a live stream recorded and broadcast on the internet, you're doing great.
I think my favorite comment that came through here was, but Your Honor, it is a meme.
Yeah, good luck with that. It's also the IPO of your business.
It's also the IPO of your business.
Yeah, it would be wild if someone screen recorded that entire broadcast. That's all I'm saying.
Would be wild.
Who'd be crazy enough to do that?
A petty, chronically online bitch who is really, really angry about how many people keep kneecapping this goddamn industry.
I don't know a single one of those.
Real quick, I want to say to a friend of the show, Amanda Thibodeau, it looks like part of your comment got cut off. All I see is also would love to hear, but he told us he got scammed earlier. Help me understand what you're talking about. And hey, if you're one of these people saying thank you for speaking up on this in the comments, we're not here to just pick on people, but we really want you to understand clearly, explicitly what the law says. And because so many people that we care about were taken advantage of by this, we want you to know that this is not a personal thing. I mean, personally, like this is, he needs to stay far away from the people in our community. But also on like it wouldn't matter who is doing this. This is not about picking on some guy we don't like. This is about understanding what is okay to do.
Well, I mean, Evan, like to be fair, run it back. We have been skewering and lambasting creators that launched their own meme coins for about 3 years now.
Absolutely.
Ever since this godforsaken trend started.
Yes. But I think I'll say proud of us and grateful to everybody for encouraging us to make time to bring these people, even on the platform, on the show. Everybody says you guys had him on the show because our intention is not to like amplify or glorify. You were really
run that
concerned
episode
about
back.
You were concerned about that. And I'm glad that you were, but I'm also really glad we chose to make time for it because people who might otherwise be deceived need to see you cannot, what is done in the dark must be brought to the light. And if there is a light shined upon it, then the darkness cannot hide kind of thing. People need to see that. And so we hear you. We know it's helpful to you. And if you have suggestions, I have a conversation I want to queue up at that Trusted Smart Chain group. But there's other stuff. Don't be afraid to bring it to our attention. And of course, to post about it in the community at community.rumshq.com. The moral I'm taking away from this is don't trust a motherfucking PIMP, right? I think that's the song.
Yeah, and hey, just a solicitation that I do have resources and connections, and I'm not afraid to use them. I'm happy to use them. So if you have evidence of like other crimes, please feel free to send them to me, and I will help you get them to where they need to go. That's especially right. If you were like personally affected or someone that you know was hurt by shit like this, because it needs to die.
Super good case.
Just remember, guys, you have to somehow find someone who's chronically online, petty, and was a former federal law enforcement agent in order to help with these things. And where can we find one of those? I don't know.
I don't know.
Alex, do you know where we can find one of those people? I think, I don't know. Impossible. Nope. I'll ask Claude.
Doesn't come to mind. Yeah, tell Claude to make no mistakes. Find him one of those.
Claude, make no mistakes.
Make no mistakes.
By the way, the token's down 98% from its all-time high.
Say it ain't so.
No way.
It can't be.
Impossible.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah. We have a quick question here in the comments about if you're moving money off an exchange. This might be helpful to know. And I'm curious to see if I understand it correctly, but Popular Ionics, good to see you, says, is it true if you pull out of an exchange, they have the right not to allow you to buy in again? If I'm understanding this correctly, then yeah, absolutely. An exchange is a at will service. They can pretty much terminate you or freeze you for any reason, anytime, right?
Yeah, it's a business. There are certain things that they can't do, and like, you know, depending on what it is, you can take them to court. Like I don't know all the nuances of whatever situation you're describing, but in general, unfortunately, centralized exchanges are businesses, and they kind of have the right to refuse service to customers depending on what happened. And if they can articulate reasonable suspicion that you were doing something nefarious, then they'll just freeze your money. It happens all the time. Sad but true.
Stay away.
Yep.
Yeah, just just stick with the big exchanges and you'll be fine. They'll let you come and go as they please because we're all small peanuts to what actually makes them money. So, in that sense, it's actually a good thing. Your Coinbase, your Kraken, your Binance.
Yep.
Particularly your Coinbase and your Binance.
Kraken.
Stay away from XC.
Stay away from XC. They're an official enemy of the show. In fact, every time they get mentioned, it's written in our code, in our operating agreement.
It's in the bylaws.
Them. They're actively looing ownership. They've never had ownership in our show, but they're getting even less now. There are 2 more Gwumps in the hole tonight. Thank you for reminding me, Will. And looks like my drink is done, so I need to take a second to say that Rise Up After Dark is brought to you in part, not by 2 chicks, though I do enjoy drinking them, but by Arculus. And we have got in the capable hands of our awesome clippers a great interview with Dr. Adam Lowe live from the Arculus booth. Alex and I filmed some fun little commercials there. If you don't know Arculus, you need to check out their work. We recommend you get started by looking at the past episodes of Rise Up with Adam Lowe, the doctor, the good doctor, and the inventor of Arculus. It's a great cold storage wallet. It is our preferred cold storage wallet. And they have answered lots of questions, not just about their product, but about safe cold storage. He had some great takes on security. And this clip will be up soon on all platforms. But in the meantime, you can check out getarculus.com or at thisisarculus. Yes.
There was also a fun little moment that happened at the Arculus booth that I'll share. So we were hanging out with a friend of the show, Mark Sepulveda, who is the head of Web3 at St. Jude. If you didn't know that was the thing, now you do.
Oh, hell yeah.
Mark. Oh, yeah. Great dude.
I really liked Mark when I met him.
Yeah.
Will, you
and Caroline, too.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Dude, shout out. Caroline does PR, not Web3 specific, just general PR at St. Jude, and she was an absolute delight. So I was hanging out with Mark and was introducing him to the people at Arculus because he was commenting on how he's tried to get hardware wallets for St. Jude before, and he had gone through Ledger and it didn't work. So I was like, well, hey, meet these people. They're right here and they're wonderful. Ezra was standing at the booth. Shout out Ezra. And they had this display case with all the different cards in it. And so they do make cold wallets, but they also make the secure element and chip, and there's some other little giblets inside of other cards from brands and companies you may recognize, like the MetaMask card, the Gemini card, the Coinbase card with American Express, your American Express card if you have a Platinum or Black. If you have a Black let me know if you want to sponsor the show, because goddamn. But a whole bunch of other cards, and Mark is looking at these and he's like, wait, why are all these cards here? And he's like, I've never used an Arculus. But what are all these other cards doing here? And Ezra's like, well, do you have any of these? And he's like, yeah, I have the Gemini one. I've got the Coinbase one. I've got the MetaMask one. And she's like, go ahead and pull that Gemini card out of your wallet and turn it over. And she's cheesing because, she knew where this was going. He turns it over, and on the back side of the Gemini card, it says powered by Arculus. And he's just looking at it. He's like, well, son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Look at that.
Nice.
So, and then I told that story to Adam, and he's like, yeah, I love telling people that I'm probably in your pocket. And,
nice.
Just a great little moment that, Arculus and their parent company, Composecure, are all over the place. And you probably don't even know that they might be in your pocket.
What a flex.
Yeah, pretty cool.
My card is in your pocket. And hey, speaking of my card and your pocket, if you want my card and his card in your wallet, then you can go to community.rumshq.com. The pre-orders for the co-branded RUMS Arculus wallet are live now. This is the fabled Purple Wallet. You can pre-order yours with cash or crypto at this forum, or just head to the community and say, hey, I want to get a Purple Wallet.
Whoops.
These pests can get it for you.
Damn it. Hold on. I don't have the like, ta-da. That's the one I was looking for. Thank you.
There it
no
is.
fret, no sweat. No fret, no sweat. Either way, you can use that code. It's ARCURUMS10 to get 10% off your order at Get Arculus or This Is Arculus. We would really, really appreciate if you told them you came from us. Thank you to our friends at Arculus for making.
I love that
possible.
Our first branded collaboration with like an official crypto product is a cold wallet.
It's nice.
That's just
it feels
awesome.
right.
Yep. Amen.
But we would make more money if we violated like 3 or 4 securities laws and fraud laws and stuff. So like, we just do that and then we run away, and we have a mobile business. So we could like just stay in, I don't know, Fiji.
Yeah. Drop your favorite non-extradition country in the comments below, and whichever one we pick, you'll win.
We're gonna make Alex and we'll choose a number at the end of the show, and then we'll move.
You're gonna get an Arculus card and $100 of Will's fake pretend AI generated money.
And Cayman Carl is gonna get a phone call.
Cayman Carl.
Yeah, we have a new friend of the show, Cayman Carl. He's from South Africa, but he's in the Caymans now. Shout out Cayman Carl, we love him. And he, or maybe Anton of Tall Dow and Autonomous, could help us set up a trust in Switzerland, but also a business entity in the Cayman Islands. If you need services like that, call us. We know a guy. You got to meet him, Will. He was another good one. You were talking about Consensus. We shared just a great conversation, a couple of drinks with. He was a fun guy, a nice guy, made everyone feel comfortable and welcome, and had a great
South
dialect.
Africa. I heard him talk and I was just like, Willem?
Yeah, our friend Willem, we miss him, from South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Will, you have been summoned. And of course, I'm happy to take it anywhere else you would rather go instead.
Hold up.
Oh,
I do want to get to that, but we do have one more sponsor that also has like a pretty cool thing that we do have a link for. If
They
you
do
want
have a cool
to
thing.
get early access, sign up and check it out and support the show.
dude, are you just about to drop the name of a cool sponsor? Don't let me hold you up at all. Take it away, my friend. Who are you talking about?
If you'll direct your attention to Will's head,
Oh!
I'm talking about Jito, who I've been referring to, and honestly will continue to. I think it's good as the gateway to Solana DeFi, and now I can also say insulated from the drift exploit, which is just killer. So Jito, known as the company that has built a lot of the infrastructure that other DeFi things on Solana run on, is now also building at the application layer. And they dropped an announcement at Accelerate, which was the first day of Consensus. Lucas, who's the CEO, announced JTX, their trading engine. They're dropping this as a place for professional traders to go, or people who want to be professional traders to go learn. And we have early access, and you can use the code RUMSHQ. I think our ref link is probably in the circle somewhere. And you can sign up there to claim your handle and get early access. And there's some benefits to being early. It's not rolled out yet, but signing up through RefLink will help scoot you up the list, and also it helps support the show, which is great at no cost to you.
I want to shout out the friend of the show, the White Whale, because we were talking about it earlier in his quest for a better perpetuals experience. I said, JTX might be the move. A guy like you can design sort of your own tool set, trading interface. You can get the stuff you need. At least they tell us, and I can't think of anybody more qualified to give product feedback than you. So I said, here, use our link. It'll help the show. And he said, no problem. And their pitch for it is kind of like what Robinhood did to TradFi experience. They're going to do for crypto. What are you laughing at? What did I miss?
Seavish's comment.
What do you say? Read it for me.
Need a hood, Will, and you'll be the doppelganger of the Unabomber.
No.
I'm just like, damn it. It's good.
I told a Unabomber related story while we were in Consensus hanging out with DJ Willie Quiggs. We were talking about Cardano.
That's right.
And I was talking about Haskell, the programming language that they decided to use for their smart contracts for some friggin' reason. And I was just telling a little story about my father told me one of the professors at Yale who contributed to the creation of Haskell, the language, is David Gelernter, and he is a Unabomber victim. He lost a hand in a not fully fatal and successful attack. So fun little piece of internet lore. Well, fun is probably the wrong word, but you know what I mean.
Interesting.
One hand Gelernter. Dang, he wears glove now. Look at this brother.
There he is.
Look at that look on his face. He looks
like a Unabomb survivor.
And a guy who would write Haskell.
That's a guy who's seen some shit and written some crazy code in his days.
Dude. He's going to be played by Harvey Fierstein in the movie. Yep. Look at this. Look at this Darth Vader glove. Dude.
Yep. But I mean he's as far as I know still there. But my father was at Yale at the same time.
Look at those eyes.
Deep cut right there.
Okay, Katrina Moron wants to know if she missed your BTC update, Will, and I have heard you give it once or twice, but I'd love to get your updated take. And then we've got to make Alex join our fun little prediction game and the audience too for where we think Bitcoin is heading. So tell me how I can assist you and take it away, my brother.
Good. Yeah, so let's get Bitcoin on the chart here and let's clean this up. So it's nice and simple, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. So Bitcoin has, if you've seen my daily update videos, I'll touch on that a little bit here. So we have what appears to be the cementing of the local top, but it's never over till the fat lady sings, but it looks it to me. So on May 6th, we got our first sign of potential local top where Bitcoin's price, and I'll zoom in a little bit more here. Where Bitcoin's price got smushed down below the 200-day exponential moving average. That is a sign to us, after getting a rally, that the bears are starting to grow momentum. The bears are looking at the bulls and ready to, gave them the first jab into their nose, right? Kind of phase this a little bit. And then we had an opportunity where Bitcoin on, hang on, I gotta move this over. Bitcoin on May 10th got above that key resistance again. And we're like, oh, are we going to turn this into support? Let's wait for confirmation. But Bitcoin's price got slammed downwards. Now this candle, because it has a little bit of a bullish wick upwards, looks like a bullish hammer candle, right? It has the handle of a hammer, the head of a hammer, and that's a bullish candle. So you should expect things to go higher, but its daily candle closed below that resistance line. So that is a fake bullish signal within a cementing of bearishness. And then since then, we have seen a fall in Bitcoin from 81.6K to where we are right now at 79.5K. Okay, so that's the story that we have. And what we have is essentially, you could call this a double triple top if you want, or a higher low. And at the same time, if we start pulling up our indicators, we can see on our RSI right here that we have a higher low as well, and it has flipped bearish. We can also see on our stochastic RSI that we are not in oversold territory on the daily time frame. So we're not at a bottom locally just yet. So that's very short-term analysis. Now, let's try to get to something a little bit more impactful here. This could be it for this little correction, right? If you come to the weekly chart, while the daily chart is saying, hey, maybe we found a local top, the weekly chart is saying, hey, no reason to panic yet. Because we are finding support on the 21-week exponential moving average here. Yes.
Can I insert a question really quick?
Yes.
Was talking when we were in Consensus, I was talking to Chelsea, and she mentioned that one thing that would be cool to add in is just, can you give us a little bit of extra information about why you switch between different timeframes when you look at stuff and what you're looking for when you compare like a weekly to an hourly to a daily?
Yes. So when you start looking at a chart, since I look at things daily, I make daily update videos. I tend to look at the daily time frame first. But if you're really trying to figure out what an asset's doing, you should start from longer term time frames and then go to shorter term. So start monthly, go weekly, and go daily. Because each of these candles here on this particular chart represent, 1 week, 7 days. And so whatever trend you're seeing here is going to be more impactful. It's going to be more meaningful. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you look at the monthly chart and you say, okay, the monthly chart absolutely looks bullish to me. But then if you zoom in on the daily time frame, you see clear bearish momentum, right? So that will tell you, hey, in the short term, I should expect maybe some bearishness over just a handful of days. But because the monthly chart has bullish momentum, because the monthly chart is more meaningful, it's more impactful, the data is larger, and it has just like much more of a true telling as to what the direction and the sentiment is in the market. That means that whatever bearish momentum you're seeing on short-term timeframes will be overwritten by the monthly's bullish momentum, but also vice versa. Let's flip that a little bit. Let's say what you're seeing on the monthly chart is bearish, and then you go onto the daily time frame and you see bearish momentum as well. Well, if you're like, hey, the larger trend here is bearish and the subsection trend, the daily trend, is also bearish, I'm going to do my TA and I'm just going to pick some arbitrary numbers. Let's say, let's say the price of whatever asset you're at is at $100, and you do your TA and say, okay, I see two scenarios, one where it goes down to 90 and one where it goes down to 75. But because the monthly chart is telling me that everything is overall bearish still, I should probably hedge my bets on the worst case scenario playing out, right? So all of that is to say, in quick summary, you find the trend on monthly or weekly timeframes to then better dictate how things are really going to fall on shorter term timeframes, because longer term timeframes, those trends are far more impactful. Okay.
So we had some questions in the comments following up, but I need clarification, like from Do Not Disturb Her, about monthly usage. And my question, Will, is whether or not we can extend this out. We're going to get a prediction for January in a minute, but that's, the farther out we look, the harder it is, unless I feel comfortable saying, I don't know, 5 or 10 years from now, Bitcoin will probably be $1 million. But you know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to know. There's a lot of chat in the comments about how low are we going? Are we done? And I would just like to ask you, for the record, do you think that this down in consolidation after this next, I don't know, do you feel comfortable to say how you feel about the summer, how you feel about the fall?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we go by the traditional 4-year cycle, and you can say it's dead or not, but the thing is, it's kind of worked out. And whether it's the reason for why it happens, there really isn't a good one, but it's the data we have to go off of. So if we look at the previous bear markets, so let's go, here's the top of the previous bear market in 2021 to the very bottom, that was 13 months, so just over a year from top to bottom. If we go to the previous bear market here, or the previous bull market's top in December of 2017, and we go to the very bottom, let me actually zoom in a little bit here so I can get something accurate. Let's see, when was the exact bottom? It was that was also 13 months. If we go back again, I think it's 12 months or it's 14 months, but it's right there, okay? So just over a year. So let's just say it's gonna do something similarly again. So where is 13 months? 13 months here is November of this year. So if we hold up to traditional cycle lengths, we're not gonna hit a bottom until November. Which is actually not this. I actually haven't looked at this exactly. I haven't exactly measured this out. My personal thoughts and opinions where things could start heating up again in October was what I was thinking before. But now that I'm looking at this, if you take a look at historical averages, it's, worse for sure. Let's see. What was the bear market of 2013? It was also, 13. was about 13.
Yeah,
God damn.
wow. You know, I'm kind of inclined to agree with that. I feel like until we get some clarity about the war on Iran, until we get some clarity from elections, there's just so much crap coming down the drain. I feel like until after elections in the US anyway. And Emily has a really interesting point in the comments I'm inclined to agree with. Now that Michael Saylor has opened the floodgate of selling, and institutions typically with many assets, they capitulate. They don't mind buying into strong assets when they're going up, and they sell them when they start going down. And retail, I think I agree with Emily here too. I need to see some metrics, but I really don't believe my mind has changed that they don't have any measurable effect. I really think there's more capitulation and more selling coming. My target is lower. And I was saying like 40s or 50s wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know, the 30s wouldn't surprise me. Emily in the comments says 15K. And if it's a bank run cash out, like she says, could it happen? Absolutely. I think a spiral begets a spiral. I would be gobsmacked too, but I feel pretty confident to say that, like, unless something crazy changes, 40 or 50K wouldn't phase me whatsoever. And neither with 35.
So I put this line here with Doug 3, maybe 5 or 6 months ago now at this point.
Yeah.
And it's what
this red line.
Yeah, this red line here. And it's what we saw as Bitcoin's true bottom in a absolute disaster scenario.
That looks good to me. Will you read the number for people? That's like maybe just under 30.
That number is literally, I mean, it literally ended up being $30,000. It's actually like 29,000 because it's where you start to find this little batch of consolidation, as well as, you know, previous inflection points where if it held, Bitcoin was great. If it, you know, didn't hold, things were not good. Right.
That looks strong to me.
And
intuitive.
Here's one thing when you like look at an asset is if you have a lot of empty space, like there's not a lot of price history here for Bitcoin ranging between 59 to 30,000, typically price likes to fall into it. If there's bearish macro tailwinds, right? That's the key. If you take a look at the S&P 500, that thing just goes straight up and to the right? Macro tailwinds only affected so much for so long, but they can still be a year or two, but regardless. And so we have macro tailwinds still, particularly right now. We've seen, oh, hi, little Bubba. Hello. Sorry.
Oh, you got a friend?
Yeah. Maverick definitely needs to go to the bathroom. That's okay. He's a good boy. You can wait.
Finish this thought, and then you can take a break and get him if he needs it. He's
Yeah. Oh, I see you. Hey, well, I'll get you out in a second. You want to say hi to everybody real quick?
Buddy, hi. For people in podcast land, you got to go to YouTube if you want to see Maverick.
Just say hello. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Okay, I'll get you outside in a moment. I promise. And so, where was I? Yes. So, this empty space, because they're bearish tailwinds, things to keep track of here is PPI inflation came in horrifically. And inflation data before that as well came in really bad. Like regular inflation CPI was up at, or was it PCE? I can't remember. One of the two. It doesn't really matter in particular. But it was at like 6%. PPI inflation came in at, even core PPI inflation came in at like 3.8%. And before it was 3.3 or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But it's a big jump. Whether you're taking into account oil or you're setting oil aside and you're looking at everything else, inflation's not good, which is increasing the rates or the likelihood of potentially seeing rate hikes in December, which would be horrific for markets. So fortunately, the solve for inflation is very easy. It's literally stop the war in Iran and then oil supply will flow. However, you're kind of stuck in a catch-22 because then you have Iran super pissed off and they definitely develop a nuclear weapon. And so, you know, that's not my area of expertise, so I won't go into it. But as far as macro tailwinds, you want to see things settle down between the United States and Iran. And so anyway, inflation continues. Rate hikes could potentially be on the table, which means global liquidity could be crunched, which means people sell assets and less buying of assets happen. And that is exactly what could cause Bitcoin to absolutely fall to this 30,000 range. As well as on top of that, you have Japan selling a lot of bonds, and rates on the US bonds are continuing to rise in order to try to make it more attractive for people to buy US debt and to cause those rates to go down. What that is causing is that causes mortgages to be more expensive. It causes car loans to be more expensive. And it also is a driver of inflation. It's one of the other reasons why core inflation is starting to go up as well, because the United States has a bond problem, treasuries, T-bills. And so that is also the biggest tailwind that could cause the stock market to fall as well. Now, that might not really be a problem for a year or two or three. Who knows what that timeline actually is. But it's a problem in the short term as well. It's exacerbating things for Bitcoin. So I see 30,000 as the absolute doomsday scenario still for Bitcoin. If we go to the futures chart, we have some interesting gaps as well. The futures chart for Bitcoin, there is a bullish gap up at $84,000. There is a bearish gap down at $69,000.7. And there's also a bearish gap down at 53.9. Now, there's a little bit of nuance with gaps. For those of you who are unaware what the gap is, first of all, I'll quickly describe it. It exists on the futures chart. This futures chart for Bitcoin operates with the traditional market. So as the traditional market closes, like on the weekends, but Bitcoin's price keeps moving and it opens up again, you can have a gap on the chart. Like, let's see, let me show you a good example here. Yeah, this was a good example that we filled recently. You had this gap right here in the chart where there was like zero price action. And the general rule of thumb, particularly for Bitcoin, way more so than the stock market, is that future price tends to go where these gaps are. Now, the nuance that I want to mention for folks is not all gaps are the same. So this gap here at $69,760 is a gap that you can see. These other gaps, the one at 83.9, really 84, and this one here at 54,000 are gaps that you can't see on the daily time frame, but you can see on the hourly time frame when you zoom in. Now, Bitcoin's still really good at hitting those hourly gaps. In fact, it's still almost 100%. But when you have a gap on a longer term time frame, again, it is more meaningful. So when I look at these gaps here, I see,
the gap thing. I know that statistically it is much more likely that they will fill than they won't. And I can't remember if I've asked you this before, but I probably have. Is there anything about like the time that it takes to fill? Like, is there,
no,
you know, if it's been a certain amount of time that it's less likely to fill, or, you know, like, how do you look at those?
No. Well, the thing is for the stock market, you have a better rule of thumb, but for Bitcoin, you have, let me see if I can find an example here for you. Where did we had a gap here that formed on April 22nd, 2025 that wasn't filled until November of same year. So, you know, April to November, right? So it can be a long time. We had another gap here in November of 2024 that was filled in February of 2025. That was less extreme, and so on and so forth. So like, no. And the most recent gap that got filled began January 30th and was filled, you know, in May. So that took, you know, 5 months or so. Okay. And then sometimes, like, we had another gap that was created here on, where was it? I think I have to zoom in here on the hourly. I know there was one here. Oh, yes, here it was. There was a gap that was created on May 8th, and that was filled on May 12th. So sometimes it's fast. Sometimes it literally takes like 8 months. Okay. But Bitcoin in particular has a near 100% rate of filling gaps. And if you're asking the question of, well, why? The answer you're not going to be fully satisfied with is it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We only look at this because it has such a high degree of happening that statistically it can't be ignored. My explanation as to why, if you really wanted to put pen to paper, is like, we have silly monkey brains and we go hole on chart, fill hole, and there you go. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Kind of like, and I'll put this in the same camp, you know, futures chart gaps are, it's the same thing as moon trading. If you look at moon trading,
which is your favorite kind of trading.
Favorite kind of trading. It's my favorite kind of trading. But the thing is statistically, moon trading works. It can't be ignored because it is statistically too relevant, even though it's fucking stupid.
Somebody clip that for me. I'm gonna need it.
It's the perfect time to buy.
Thank you very much. Okay, Will, do you want to go take Maverick out, and I'll ask Alex a question or two, and when you get back, maybe you could take a look at Morpho for us, because we were talking about revenue producing.
I didn't finish my thoughts on Bitcoin.
Oh, please,
Let me just finish that thought. So like I said, absolute doomsday scenario for Bitcoin is 30,000. So much support there. That, and also the amount of leverage that would enter the market to buy at that level would be insane, because like you could put in like a 20x leverage position for Bitcoin at 30K, and your liquidation level wouldn't be until what, 22,000? So like, do you think 22,000 is going to happen? Yeah. But you could have a 10x leverage position at $30,000 Bitcoin, and your liquidation level wouldn't be until what would it be?
Doesn't it depend though on how much cross margin you have? You could move that liquidation down and down and down and down by putting
for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
you have to pay for it.
The White Whale posted the other day a famous trade where they paid like, I don't know, $1 million to make $27 million or something like that, and they were like, no problem.
Well, I mean, Michael Burry was paying, what were the premiums that he paid every year to keep that short open?
Dude, I don't know.
It was great.
Actually,
it was millions of dollars a year.
Open a 5x leverage for Bitcoin at 30,000, and your liquidation level, if you didn't apply any more cash, it would be $22,000.
Bro, you're making me do math.
It'd be right about there.
Doesn't it depend on your cross margin though?
I'm doing rough estimates here, man.
Okay, all right,
rough estimates. But like, the thing is you're going to have a lot of people who are going to be diving into Bitcoin at 30K if that ever happens. But where I was going with this is that 30K is my absolute doomsday scenario. I absolutely feel incredibly strongly of Bitcoin getting to fill that gap at $69,000, because gaps on the daily time frame are not ignored by Bitcoin. And then potentially you see something hit $54,000. Currently, I see that as unlikely right now. But if my trigger to open up that door of possibility is if oil genuinely heads to $150, which is what I've been looking for weeks now at this point from oil, and it's like trying to do that setup. If oil goes to 150, you could see some real big problems in the short term, which could spell Bitcoin down to 54K, and then 60,000 ends up not being our bottom. So we'll see.
You said fill that gap at 69, and somewhere someone said,
yeah, baby. Okay, I'm gonna take this dog out real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, all right. I want to highlight some of the winners in the comments. Radio Dan's got a theory about Wyckoff and thinking it might go higher. Everybody else, higher, lower, different theories. But I wanted to shout out TK Slayton, who says, love when all three of you are on together. I miss it in the AM. Hey, I appreciate the day off, but we might have to get the gang together all the time.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I know, man. Shark also says, you guys, the most real in the industry, love being in your show. Thank you very much, Shark. And shout out to Eric at Ericnomics, good friend of the show, who says, hey, the handsome trio is back in action. Hopefully you'll be back in action too. The panel will get a lot more handsome, a little more elevated, smarter. And we just miss you, man. It was really good to see Eric in Miami too. That was
what a pleasant surprise.
Hanging out with him and Andre.
Had no idea he was going to be there, I don't think. And that was a lot of fun.
And shout out to Magic, who does confirm that, yes, it could absolutely be a lower liquidation threshold, meaning you can keep your money on the table and in play longer with extra margin. ... That would be the play. Okie dokie. Alex, I want to make you play a little guessing game, and everybody in the audience too.
Oh, I hate these.
I know. Usually you are the peddler and purveyor of guesses, but today it's my turn. Earlier this week, when you were taking your day off, Will was filling us in on a silly prediction somebody asked him to make about where he thought Bitcoin would be in January. His prediction was that it would be at 97,000. I said at that time 85,000, but honestly, in light of some of the conversation tonight, I really do think November is around where a bottom would be if all things equal stayed the same. And I'm thinking maybe I'd like to revise my guess, which was previously 85,000. And since I keep the record of truth here in my magic notebook, validator set of 1, we have consensus that I can change my bet. I think I'm going to go down to 69K for the memes. In January, Alex, and everybody listening, wherever you are, whenever you hear my voice, I want you to leave it in a comment, write it on the back of a $20 bill, or put it in an Apple Podcast 5-star review. What you think the price of Bitcoin will be in January 20. I'm out here working hard for these reviews, man.
Correct.
Alex,
All he wants for Christmas is an Apple Podcast review.
I will absolutely die on this hill.
okay. So what do you think? And then we also are betting on the bottom. I said low 40s to 50s, but again, the validators have achieved consensus. I'm going to go ahead and revise that and say 30s to low 40s. You can be vague here. Will said 54 to 60K. And just to give you like a reference, some of the folks in the chat are saying 130K, 0.01. And CJ says, or excuse me, C Vish says, fucking rigged. Yes, it is. I already thought it was at 69K, says Amanda, because I'm looking in euro. I have been laughing every day. Okay, so bottom is in, says Cosmic. What say you? Jeff Rascal, January will be 74K. Oh man, he and I are right neck and neck there. I like that. What do you think, Alex? The January price and the bottom for this, season of Bitcoin's drama.
January is in January of 27.
Yeah, in like 7 months. I personally am inclined to agree with the November thing that we're going lower. There's no reason not to. I disagree with Cosmic. I think there's no reason not to go lower.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like my ultra vague prediction is it would be weird if it didn't go lower to me. But I have to also channel my inner William Quigley to say, what, you want me just to make something up?
Yeah. He was telling us that story too. That's when he could tell us. When he goes on CNN, he was saying it sucks.
This was on Bloomberg.
Oh, Bloomberg. Yeah, fucking Bloomberg. He loves coming on our show. He says, we asked him, what is the reason you make time for this? And he said, when I'm on Bloomberg, they just want like a minute. They want a soundbite. They ask me what I think Bitcoin's price is going to do.
You're totally.
I don't know. He was like, what did he say?
What do you want me to just guess? Just make up a number?
Yeah.
He's past.
And I forget what he told us. He said, well, I have to ask him when he comes back, but it was funny. It was very funny just to hear and refreshing to hear him say, a reminder, nobody knows. CNN, Bloomberg, don't get me to make you do a hot take for one of your audience. Okay, but you've been pandering back and forth around it long enough. Pandering, listen to me, I'm making up words. You know what I'm saying?
Dicking around.
I
mean, it's true though, because I want to make this abundantly clear. I have truly no clue. I have no reason to guess any of these numbers except just like a feeling.
Dude, it's all vibes.
It's all vibes. My eyes glaze over when Will starts talking about all of his chart hocus pocus and gobbledygook and jibber jabber. So, I don't fucking know. At lower,
Emily says, Alex, I gave you a clue.
Emily's trying to subtly, not so subtly influence me to say it's going to 0. I don't know. I mean, what was what I don't even know what the last put in bottom was for Bitcoin. Like, what did it get down to before this little mini reversal or whatever we're seeing right now happen?
Dude, if only there was a website that would let you pull up a chart.
Only
from
there was a
Bitcoin's
place.
History. Did you break your hands or something? You need me to come over there and chew your food for you too? Come on, man.
All right. So what is it, 62.7 according to CoinMarketCap?
That sounds like a previous top to me.
No. That was February 5th of this year, and that doesn't account for the wick.
Oh no, man. I'm looking at that pattern that Will showed us where here, hang on, sweetheart.
Don't you sweetheart me, you putz.
My precious sweet friend.
I mean, what happened on 10? Where's 1010? 1010 was 58. 53. 53.9 on 8.5.
Here's what I'm I'm looking at first and second is this like peak before the this dip before the last run up, which is between 50 and 75K, around like 60 something. But I'm also looking at this area here. This I see this 15. I definitely see that, and I see this like somewhere around 25 where it's trying to break through. I really think it could go lower to this area. To me looks, I don't know, these are all good targets depending on how things go. I'm not much of a chart guy, but Cosmic said, you know, unless the dollar gets particularly strong, I think it can be true that the dollar is weakening, and also somehow that people are losing faith in Bitcoin. I honestly think a lot of stuff that's unprecedented could still happen because it's just so young. You know what I mean? Like, it's so young.
No, it's, yeah, as far as assets go, it is not old. It's just a baby. Dude, I genuinely, like, I hate guessing this because it literally, like, any number I'm about to say literally means nothing. It's like a waste of all of your time to hear me make up a number right now.
Yeah, but it gets the people going, man.
I don't think it gets anybody going. It's not fun and no one likes it and doesn't mean anything.
Okay, but Will and I made a bet and we need you to play along too because, you know, we're peer pressure.
Okay.
Man.
Hold on. Let me look at this. Let me look at this chart one more time and just make something up for no reason.
Thank you. Better than drugs. Alex is currently, Will, trying to guess where Bitcoin is going to be in January and what the bottom is. After much consternation, he's about to reveal.
Oh, I just got here in time for that? Wow, good time.
Just got here in time for that.
Yeah, I've been whining about it ever since you left about how stupid me guessing is because it means nothing.
Really? I was gone for a while. It's a lot of whinging. But, you know.
Are you surprised?
On brand. No.
Let's say... Okay, so for January...
Yeah.
For shits and gigs, let's say 85.
Wow.
I feel like, I honestly feel like it's more likely like that we'll visit some lower prices, but it's going to be just a boring year that makes everybody question all reality, but not quite enough to give up entirely.
Like every bear market.
Yeah.
Because, let's see. Because apparently we have another 6 months to go, according to historical averages.
I just want to reiterate again. This isn't even a number getting pulled out of my ass. This is like worse than that. This is so meaningless. And then what was the other number I'm supposed to make up?
The low of this season and moment in time.
The low? Oh,
yeah. Do you think the bottom is already in? Do you think we're going low?
So how far back am I going? Like, are we saying
I don't know, man.
50 something or?
I don't know, man. How low do you think it's going to go?
How low do you think it's going to go?
It goes back to 85. Do you think it's going lower? And if so, how low? What's the lowest number? You just got to guess. You can say anything.
And what did you already guess? 69?
Yeah, but you could guess it too. That was my January price. My low
69 and 1. 69,001. As my not so peaceful protest about how stupid this game is.
Okay, Emily gave you a gwump.
You deserve a gwump.
You know what? I'll give myself a gwump. This is dumb. I can't believe I acquiesced to your request.
You stupid solo. I'm going to give myself a point for effectively persuading you.
Why not?
Give yourself another point for just dealing with it.
Thank you very much. I needed that. I really did need that.
You're welcome. I can tell.
We can move on from that. I know, Will, that there's some other stuff we wanted to ask you to chart, and I'm glad to defer to you because you mentioned gold, you mentioned oil, but we specifically were talking about Morpho backstage. And just to read people into like the spirit of the conversation, Alex and I have both made a couple videos lately talking about. I'm sorry?
Kirk asks, is Alex having a tough day? Yeah, because they're making me do price predictions, and I hate it.
He loves it.
I am a big fan of this.
Yeah, I know he is.
What did we make videos about?
We were talking about value-aligned tokens.
Oh, yeah.
You were really talking about it on the show. And we also, the lore of the show, if you're tuning in for the first time tonight because somebody said these guys will help you learn about crypto, in addition to wondering what the heck you've done with the last hour of your time, you're probably also curious to know a little more about us, like that we've been pressuring Will to tell us when Hyperliquid will be ready. And he's been teasing us saying that the opportunity is coming soon.
It's the perfect time to buy.
But I heard Alex.
I've been saying you guys are going to have to wait a few weeks. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah, but it's coming. You tease it like it's, you know, it makes me feel like it's imminent and I get excited and eager. So let's talk about value aligned tokens like Hyperliquid. And Alex, I'm going to kick it to you, but then Will, I'm going to pass it over to you if you want to look at Morpho, or if you want to delay and, you know, we look at gold and oil because you mentioned gold about to rip, oil to 150. I know you've talked about that. But can we talk about this value alignment thing in crypto? Because I continue to see content about this or that token that's going to pump. And they're for tokens that just have no relation to, exactly. Read me in.
All right. So we've been talking more and more lately about trying, like, in your quest to fundamentally analyze a cryptocurrency that you may or may not want to invest in or buy or gamble on, whatever. Trying to determine whether or not there is any semblance of value transfer between the protocol in question, which hopefully makes some money, and the token in question. And overwhelmingly, it is the case that layer ones, layer twos, protocols, dexes, exchanges, whatever, have a token or company, whatever, and then there's no like direct link that allows them making any money as a business that ideally and hopefully would be successful one day back into the token. There are some examples of that happening. Will, you've covered a number of these different things in recent history, like Uniswap and Polygon are ones that more recently adapted their tokenomic structure to try to include something like that. Hyperliquid is one that very notably does this. And there are a few others. Aerodrome is one. And all of these things do have one thing in common. They are revenue generating protocols, which in and of itself is like a unicorn case in this godforsaken industry, that a business launches and actually attracts a customer and makes some sort of revenue.
What?
Can't
revenue generating protocols.
And recently, very recently, as in like last week at Accelerate, it was announced. This was hilarious, by the way. The way I think I showed you the tweet. But Jito announced that JTX revenue, like 80% of it, will flow into the JTO token.
Whoa!
Which heavily incentivizes holding of that token beyond just the ability to participate in governance on the platform through platform proposals. So that's interesting. And what was really funny is that the tweet that announced the 80% figure came from Dr. Nick Almond, who's the head of governance over there at Jito, and absolutely a guy that would know. And so someone had posed a question on Twitter. It was like, any revenue incentive for, JTX and JTO. And he was like, yes, 80% of revenue, going back into JTO. And someone was like, where did you get that number? Did you make it up? And he's like, yup. And they're like, oh, okay. And then all the comments underneath it was like, dude, asking Nick where he got his number is diabolical work. And then the person obviously clicked on Nick's profile and realized who he was and was like, I understand now my blunder. Because he's the dude that decides, not unilaterally, but he's pretty important. So that was really funny. But there's another one. And on that news, JTO did what? 80% in one day or something crazy, like 100-something% on the week, just in anticipation of whatever Jito was going to announce, plus, that 80 on that one day. So like, that's what I'm most interested in. If you go over to the Llama, and if you don't have access to their
DeFi
AI,
Llama, for those of you who are unfamiliar, DeFi Llama.
No, go ask the mystical llama in the sky.
Mystical llama.
If you fall to both knees in your front yard and scream to the heavens, asking the llama, it's told through legend that DeFi Llama will answer. Or you can just go to community.rumshq and ask me to ask the AI, which I will do for you if you don't have access to it. But you can just go and ask it, or pull up a list of protocols sorted by revenue, see which ones of them have a token. And, if you're like me, I would rather invest in a crypto that, benefits from the revenue that a successful business or protocol earns. So that's kind of how we're looking at this. Now, the important distinction and caveat here is that crypto by itself is inherently speculative, mostly more than it is anything else. And so it's worth noting that we are kind of redefining the way in which we evaluate things. We did some weird math on the morning show yesterday, I think it was. And by we, I mean me. And by weird, I mean pointing out the massive discrepancy between the revenue earned by something. I think we definitely looked at Sui, we looked at Algorand, we looked at a couple. And stacked up how much they make. And for context, I think it was Algorand that has an annual chain revenue of around $50,000. They are also $1 billion market cap cryptocurrency.
Hilarious.
And so The difference there is like a lot. Like, I mean, dude, so much. Thousands upon thousands of times difference. And they're not even the worst. Some are literally in like 2 digits of revenue. I mean, like less than $20 a year in like chain revenue. Yet, despite that, they have a market. Like, look at Cardano. What's Cardano's annual chain revenue? Let's look, shall we?
14
I'm going to
shekels.
I'm going to ask it for the top 10 and bottom 10 graph of chains and protocols linked by revenue. Oh, come on. It's going to make me sign up. Alex.
Well, while you guys do that.
I gotcha.
You take it. Go ahead, Will.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there were other gaps on Bitcoin's chart. For those of you who were tuning in for my other previous section, there are 2 other gaps I forgot to mention on Bitcoin's chart that are lower. So Evan, you'll like this. On the hourly time frame, so again, less significant, but there is a gap at $39,325. And on the daily time frame, this is what I was thinking of. This is the one that was irking me in my brain. In my brain, I was like, I'm missing something. On the daily chart, there is a bearish gap at $21,110.
Damn.
And that is the gap. That is the gap that has stopped me from being able to say that Bitcoin has a 100% efficacy rate at filling gaps, because that one is not filled, and that was in March of 2023.
No, man, the gaps are getting filled. I gave Emily and I both a point. Me for having the lowest guess on the panel, and her for having the lowest guess on the show.
What did you write my guess as?
Oh, your guess for lowest? I wrote 54 to 60K. Did I get it wrong? Okay.
No,
I amended my guesses actually to lower. My January prediction is 69K and my low was 30s to 40s, but Emily said 15, and that chart gap has me thinking I have no reason to be,
Emily, you can buy more points with dollars. I will give you my Venmo or my Ethereum or Solana wallet, and I will, of course, fight for you to get you points.
Emily, all you got to do is leave me a comment, girl. I will give you a point for free.
But that's hard. Giving me money is so much easier. Trust me.
Oh my gosh. Alex, you got the Llama working in the background overtime here. Give people the pitch on this DeFi Llama AI service, because we've talked about it before, but DeFiLlama.com, obviously one of our very favorite tools to use. And the Llama AI is sharp as hell. It's been getting a lot of love in the community where you're posting all your different threads. I saw you post a really good one earlier. What have you been using it for? And is it free to use? Tell us more.
Yeah, it's not free to use. But if you wanted to run like a test prompt and kind of see what happens, just let me know in Circle and I'll run one for you. It's not expensive. Getting access to their couple different paid services is like $10 a month or something. And it's pretty good. But the cool thing about the Llama is that pretty much all the data is free, but the organizing it through their AI costs a couple bucks. But no, I've been using it just to compare stuff, because, without use of this, you're kind of like hopping back and forth between a ton of pages, or you're like manually building dashboards. Actually, no, I take that back. I don't think you can customize a dashboard for free either, but you can go read any of the data for free. You just can't like organize it yourself. So I've been just using it to, I think I put in Circle a link, and I can repost it here after the show here, but to generate just a giant report of like every spot that on every major blockchain that you can take USDG, USDC, and USDT, just as the 3 stable coins that popped into my head just to kind of see how this report shook out, where you can go to earn yield in any strategy, ranked by risk, how many different layers there are, so like there's more layers to like running a loop or running a dual-sided liquidity provision than there is to just stick in USDC in a Morpho vault, for example. And it killed it, dude. It was really, I'll throw it on the screen here in a second when this is done cooking, but it was very, very good. Extremely comprehensive. The language in there is a little fluffy, there's some LLM magic that you might be used to if you're, reading ChatGPT gas you up or whatever, but the charts that it builds based on what you've asked it for are really good. So here you go. Here's the top 20. Top 20 blockchains and or protocols sorted by annualized revenue. Absolutely no surprise at all. Tether, number 1 with a bullet. at $5.9 billion, followed by Circle at $2.3 billion, followed by Canton at $767 million. Interesting.
Interesting.
Reminder to come back to Canton.
Okay. Hyperliquid at 616 million. I think one thing that's worth doing, and I will ask it a follow-up for clarification. I want to know, just because I know Hyperliquid makes over $1 billion a year. I really want to know. So when you calculate annualized revenue, I did not specify like how to do that. And usually what it does, I think by default, is to take the current 24-hour period that we're in and just multiply it by 365. And so some of these might be skewed based on like how much they made today if it was like a lower day. So I wonder, just because I know this Hyperliquid one is a little bit short. But anyway, moving down, we've got Pump, Tron, Polymarket, Grayscale, Sky, previously Maker, Axiom, Ethereum, Paxos, shout out, Aave, EdgeX, been seeing a lot more of them lately, Phantom as the first wallet, Titan Builder, Courtyard, dang,
Courtyard,
Lido,
Really? Wow.
Chainlink, and Jupiter. Interesting.
ahead of Chainlink and Jupiter. It's Courtyard.
Well, and this is
Lido
interesting too,
that's
because this has Jupiter
super
at
legit.
50 million, but Solana's not here, and I also know that they make more. So we'll have to ask some follow-up questions, because I have questions. So Tether. Oh, well, I guess. Okay, so revenue per day. I also want to draw a line between what fees are generated and what is actually like kept revenue by the protocol. Evan, you wanted to say something about Canton specifically?
Yeah. Well, when we get into the conversation about value align, what the conclusion I don't want people to draw from this, I don't want you to hear these names and be like, got it. This is my Christmas shopping list. I'm going to go out and buy every one of those tokens because that's a good idea. It's not. What I'm hoping we can take this conversation to is revenue is a metric that I think is helpful to use in assessing, like, is this worth my time or attention as an investor or somebody just trying to discern where to build or whatever. But revenue does not always accrue to the token. And that has a lot to do with token design. And many people skip that. And you talked about it on the show earlier. I think Canton is an example where the token moves more, as most crypto tokens do, because of hype, than it does because of any fundamental alignment between the value that the protocol generates and the value that accrues to the token, like XRP when Ripple makes revenue, or as you pointed out earlier today, Chainlink. When Chainlink, the protocol, makes revenue, it's not necessarily captured in the value or the price tag of the token.
Yep. Yeah, very important distinction. Because like Ripple as a company makes a lot of money, and it does not translate to the XRP token, for example.
No. And it's not that we're not saying the XRP token is a bad investment or that Ripple isn't a profitable company. We're saying that unlike a stock, which is a very specifically crafted instrument to capture the value a company generates, tokens, they're an infinitely programmable medium that can be designed to do many things. And often they're designed in such a way that even if the protocol is valuable, generates revenue, the token holders don't see that in a direct way, the way they might expect to if they were holding a stock for a company. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Evan Man.
I was pausing for dramatic effect.
He's my friend and yours.
I just asked the follow-up question, how was this particular annualized revenue set calculated? And then I just noted that I thought Hyperliquid's annualized revenue was higher. Is this the L1 or the DEX? And then where does Solana fall into this? So I was very surprised not to see them in the top 20.
And what? It's thinking.
Yeah. And what's interesting too is Canton's revenue, I really want to know where it does come from. Is it like SaaS related, or is it, because it's being reported, which means that DeFi Llama can verify it. So it's got to be on chain somewhere. And I'm curious because it's the same amount that are generated by fees, but their like volume was only 185,000 today. And yet, according to the Llama, their daily revenue was over $2 million, which is a lot.
While I'm looking it up, Will, you've been a little quiet and I can hear you clickety clacking. So is there something you're preparing that you wanted to share on this topic of revenue generating value aligned tokens?
No.
You being a mad scientist?
I am. Hang on a second. Let me get this. Let me get some visuals here for everybody. Because I literally just finished, so this was very good timing. I will show, first of all, if anyone wants to see a visual of the gaps on Bitcoin's chart, I'll quickly just show that real quick. You can see that here on the big screen represented. Just so you have a visual. For folks in podcast land, you'll have to go to YouTube to see it. For folks on TikTok, oh, Evan, thank you so much. The lines in yellow represent the hourly gaps that are on Bitcoin's chart currently. The red magenta lines represent the gaps on the daily time frame. Just FYI, ranging from bearishly from 21.1K up to bullishly 83.9K. Now, the other thing that I was working on as well, just put out a little Twitter tweet for it as well. I wanted to show everybody, and actually, I will do this in.
Oh, I love the liquidation heat map.
Liquidation heat map. Oh, it's so pink on your TikTok.
Yeah,
anyway,
baby.
So the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. I have this zoomed out as far as I can. This shows where Binance makes the most amount of money. That's important to us because we want to see where the biggest players make money. And if you know where that happens, the price suspiciously has a habit of going to those pockets and then stopping, because that's where Binance makes the most money, but it's also where market makers make the most money. So as a natural kind of incentive in the market, kind of like a shark going towards chum in the water, the biggest fish in the sea tend to go to where there is fish to eat. And so the brightest points on these on this chart here will show us where the most amount of liquidations happen on Binance in this case. That's more meaningful than anyone else because they're the largest centralized exchange in the world. So bearishly, I want to point out to people that we have some large concentrations here of liquidations down at 77K to, let's see, we have another 105 million of liquidations here at 70K, but as also all the way down to 64.7 thousand. So as of right now, this is as far as we can zoom out. And we see that paydays for insiders stop when we get to the all-time low. Now, this chart we're looking at is dynamic. It changes, it moves around based on how people are changing their leverage positions actively in the market, okay? When contracts expire, things like that. So what we're looking at here are contracts that don't expire for a year, to give us the most macro sense possible. Bullishly speaking, we have some paydays here like 85K that are still relevant, but a lot of the shorter term contracts I noticed today have been taken off the board. So this has been lightening up a lot. But then bullishly, the next big paydays for the market is higher. The brightest point on the screen here that's somewhat close is 98,000. You have another batch here at 91, 92,000. Another big concentration at 111, 116, and then a huge payday up at $127,000. So those are the areas where Bitcoin's price will get pulled to by a magnet. Whatever Bitcoin's price is currently closest to has the strongest force, just like a piece of metal would. It's going to move to the closest magnet. And right now, though, that is lower at $77,000 or so, just FYI. And then we have to see, does Binance and their market makers want to cascade some shorts and start to scoop up all these liquidations as well before, maybe looking to move higher later. So that's what we're looking at, just FYI. I wanted to pass along that information.
Especially since, if I'm looking at that right, and I feel like I read this, but like right before the little peak that we just went to before we started to come back down again, there was a liquidation on the way up. And I feel like I remember reading, like right there at like 8, looks like it's right around 80. Like
where are we looking? Over here?
Back to the front. Keep going. No. Yeah, right there. That chunk. It looked, and I feel like I remember reading like a whole bunch of shorts were liquidated on that push up to, whatever we went to, 84 or something like that the other day. Because that's
there
wiped
were,
out
but
now,
I'm
right?
not seeing it right there. But let's zoom in on let's zoom in a little bit closer.
Oh my God, he's killing me. I put it away. I pull it out. I put it away. Here comes the screen share.
Here.
Yeah,
I mean, you had a lot of longs get liquidated here. You had 267 million longs, or $1 million worth of longs get liquidated right at that price point.
How long ago was that other yellow up a little bit above it before that peak?
What, these ones?
Yeah, those two. When is that?
That was
Oh,
May
so that
4th.
was earlier this month. Okay, yeah, that was the first one I was talking about.
Okay. Yeah, that was shorts being liquidated, and this was the big batch of shorts being liquidated, which was, again, another $250 million of shorts being liquidated May 3rd on Binance. And, of course, that's just Binance. So, combine that with every other exchange, too.
It is a helpful indicator that I love so much. Fellas, we're nearing that time when we've got to think about riding our cats and cows into the sunrise, that glorious, glorious sunrise.
Tell me why.
It's because it's what we got to do, Alex, because we got to get up in the morning and do a show. But before we do, we have some points to give away. We've got to give away an Arculus wallet, and we have plenty of other announcements and little housekeeping bitty boopy things to do. I am not going to be
boopy thingies.
Bitty boopy thingies.
Technical term.
You're a loser.
Yep.
I will not be at After Dark next week because I am going to LA to film a television show. So you'll have to carry on without me. It's going to be a fun show. All I can say is it has to do with crypto and telling a better story. And so there will be more to come, but that's what we got.
Very
now.
exciting.
I have a mic. I am not home. I am not home in my setup, and I have a nice mic, and maybe the audio changed on this.
The white whale said, Will, you're gonna need to get a better microphone. Sorry about you, pal. Okay.
I have a good microphone. My internet is crap.
Excuses.
In the main home is not as good, but soon I will be back in Boston, and all will be well again, Mr. Whale.
Legend has it that Will return home for about 6 hours before he goes on his next vacation.
This is not a vacation. I've been on one vacation in many months.
Here's a good coin.
Jury's out.
I just worked out of the ski condo that one time for a little bit.
Listen to him. Listen to this guy. Does
And
anyone
also
take this
in
dude
Japan.
seriously? Look at him.
And I did go to Japan, and that was in November.
You were working hard.
Mm-hmm.
That was in November. That was 7 months ago. All right. I've had one vacation since. I've had one vacation every 6 months.
To be fair, we've got a couple of good questions coming in. Good to see you, Mr. Whale. Good to see you all. If you've got one, leave it here or take it to community.rumshq.com. That's the best place for questions 24/7, whether you're listening now or in the future. Ha, ha, ha. Might have missed our segment on the Clarity Act, but this question was not covered, so I'd like to touch it. Hi, Evan. Hello, ha, ha, ha. Great to join. I'm curious, what's your take on the Clarity Act on privacy coins, such as Zcash? I have no idea. We panned the Clarity Act earlier for all
Here
of
I could take a speculation that wouldn't be complete nonsense, just mostly nonsense.
Hit me with it.
So the Clarity Act does not really touch those tokens. It doesn't really impact them in any specific way. It does threaten them a little bit, kind of on its face, but like not deliberately and not really. I could foresee a world, because you have to remember there's a big chunk of time, probably and usually optimistically about 12 months after the passage of a bill. And this does not mean like getting through the Senate on this current version. This means like after the president signs it, wherein the regulatory agencies that are responsible for enforcing the laws set forth in the bill have to like design policy and procedure to do this. So in that time span, it would not be weird to me if privacy coins and privacy tokens saw like a rally out of like protest of more and more government overreach into crypto. We've been seeing that happen lately with stuff like Zcash. So if I was like taking a little bet on something, that is one that I might actually feel a little bit more confident on, like taking a wild speculation on, is the fact that like you could see a protest pump on some like prominent privacy things as a result of this passing, just because it doesn't really neuter them in any, particularly egregious way.
I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. I hope that helps you. Ha, ha, ha. And then check out, the episode. Listen, it's a funny username. You see what I did there?
So you're telling me there's a chance.
If you missed it and you want to hear it, we gave a lot of takes on clarity earlier in the episode. And also yesterday on trust issues, Alex and Emily and Lindsay had a really excellent conversation just about the different nuances. And of course, it's changing rapidly. The market goes to vote tomorrow, but you can catch that wherever you are. Allegedly on your favorite platform. And word on the street is we're giving out dings for 5-star Apple Podcast reviews. Why you would listen to this show and then not do yourself and us the service of leaving a review? I mean, just think of the potential. It could be great and we would appreciate it. So fellas, what do you think? Should we do final thoughts first? Do you want a chance to rack up some points? Let's not do it. I like giving out the points before we do final thoughts because then it seems truly more final. Otherwise I'm like rugging the show at the very end. Yeah?
Sure.
And Alex, did you put the link for Jito, I'm being reminded, into the general chat of the community? Okay, this is going to be just a quick commercial plug. The community is community.rumshq.com, and Alex has placed in the general chat of the community a link that you can use to sign up for their new platform, which is JTX Trade. When you go to the community, if you've never been, you sign up. It's super easy. You can see everybody is active during the show. I've posted the laws Alex was reading from about the pump fund meme. He's got everyone. If you want early access, here it is right here. There's a referral link, and you can click that little button to get access to JTX.trade. And I also want to highlight two things that we've got from the community. I always say the very best part, the only thing missing is you. But Seavish is proving me true with this little cute meme of Alex who lives in a pineapple under the sea. Llama.
Gorgeous.
There he is.
The llama.
And speaking of community to highlight, I really wanted to say thank you to Dan, Radio Dan, for this kind review here. I'm just going to read it for the people in podcast land. This is really nice. Big props to Alex Popovich. He took the time to walk me through the staking and unstaking process, which was confusing to me. And in the end of my staking and restaking journey, I was able to gain 1.5 SOL since December 30th. Now I have more to use in swing trades that I'm conducting. I can't imagine another community that would give us that kind of individual attention and guidance. It pays to go premium. Rise up rules the school, y'all. You know, you don't have to spend a dime to learn with us, but did you know we have a premium program where we will sit, each of us, for like literally hours a week to just chill, answer your questions.
Hours every week.
I think more than that, it fosters this sense of like belonging, this sense that we know each other. I know Dan. I have watched this guy. He gets staking now. He could
explain. You got lunch with him.
I've had lunch with him. He's hung out with Carol. You know, these real relationships that start online because people are trying to become safe, confident crypto users. And now, really, Dan, if you missed it, was on the show. He's got to come back again sometime soon and gave probably one of the best technical explanations I've heard in recent memory of the Wyckoff method. It's excellent. This guy who has applied himself to learning this stuff has become a really sharp, knowledgeable, helpful teacher.
And for context too, the thing he's talking about that we went through in office hours, and that was a secondary office hours because I had car trouble, which is hilarious to say as I work from home. And that prevented me from starting my morning session of office hours on time. So I ran a second one for Dan because he had to go to work. And what we were doing, we did some staking stuff, but what we also did was he had a position. Sorry, Dan, I'm outing you, but it's a good story. There he is. It was a liquidity provision on Camino. It was a single-sided liquidity provision, and he was frustrated because it was just like it was hard to read the dashboard. Which, hey, Camino, but what we did was just like dig through the dashboard, figure out exactly what pair he was providing liquidity in. And he had looked at it, I think, like, what did you say, Dan, like a week or two prior, and it was down, and he was annoyed. And he's like, I don't even know what this is. I just want to get out of here and, you know, call it a loss, whatever. I'm fine. I just want my money back. And because of Accelerate and the massive JTO pump, followed by the Sol pump, that thing swung right through his range and earned him a pretty juicy chunk of reward. So shout out to providing liquidity at the right time.
Oh, yeah.
And because he had to wait for office hours to figure out exactly how to get it all out of there, ended up being able to exit in profit. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah! Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it was a great lesson about providing liquidity with a volatile pair as opposed to a stable pair. So we were doing like a comparison between providing liquidity with JTO versus Jito Sol instead of doing like Sol versus Jito Sol, which is much more of a stable pair to provide liquidity with. If you want to, we could dig more into that, at any other point, but providing liquidity is like something that gets thrown around in a ton of live streams is like an easy way to go earn fees. It is not that easy, and it is also complicated, and there's a tremendous amount of nuance there, and there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, and a bunch of different platforms you can do it on, and there's a whole bunch of stuff you need to know before you do it. Otherwise, you will just lose money. So, shout out. It was a great session.
Yeah, good job, Dan. Okay. The moment you've all been waiting for. I want to invite everybody who needs cold storage tonight, listening to me, wherever you are, whenever you listen, to leave a comment and just say Arculus in the comments. That'll be cool. And we will put you on the list. You can sign up to get a free Arculus wallet. If you need some cold storage, we would love to do that for you. And yes, if you're listening in the future, I hope your candles are green. I would prefer for you to put your comment in a Spotify or Apple review with 5 stars attached, but I'll accept it wherever you are, whenever you listen. Let us know you're looking for cold storage, and you might just find that you could win one too. Here are the points as they stand before I make Alex and Will guess a number from the respondents in the comments. In a last place with 2 gwumps each, it's a tie. Market manipulation, premeditated, and Mex C, so sorry, play again. And then with 1, we have got the Nutcracker watching the show from the toilet. On the board tonight, we have got sponsors of the show, Jito, Arculus, and specifically friend Ezra at Arculus. We have got Mark and Caroline from Alsac St. Jude. We have got revenue generating protocols, Emily, DeFi, Llama, Ericnomics, Shark, TK, Slayton, Flavors of Japan, 2 Chicks Drinks, Erica Perkin, and with 2 points, you guys aren't going to believe this, it's actually for second place, a tie between me, Alex, and Will.
Whoa,
which means your winner in first place is Moon Trading. Congratulations, Moon Trading. Did not see that coming, but
awful.
It's an indicator for a reason. Got beat by Moon Trading tonight.
Will's gone.
He just rage quit.
Will, this is your fault, by the way. You did this to us.
Are you trading even a little by the moon, Will?
He only trades by the moon. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
I put moon emojis on the chart now.
Look at him. There he goes.
Right. But what I want to know is that, are you actually, I know you kind of like accidentally done it.
Making trades off of the moon? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it on my chart, and is it an additional data points that goes into my analysis now? Yes.
Okay. That's all I needed to know. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William Watson. Guys, this has been a great show. I would love to give away cold storage to somebody who has put Arculus in the comments. So give us a final call. If you've got a question, you can leave it. I want to address Beloved, who asked if we were promoting Crypto Revolution, to which I say to you, absolutely not. Go back and watch the episode, or our episode with Oz. We are... We have tried to sound the alarm on tokens like that for a long, long time. Because it's a mother UMP. That's what I got. Okay, pick a number 1 through 17.
42.
42, that's Will's number. And Alex's number is?
Between 1 and 17?
Yes, you both got to pick a number.
13.
2.
Will, you already picked a number. You can't pick Alex's number. 42 divided by 17 is 2.47, which means 2. And Alex, you also said 2, didn't you?
No, I said 13.
13. So I've got 2 is Beloved. Congratulations. And 13 is Kirk T, congratulations, beloved, and Kirk T. Please do me a favor, head over to community.rumshq.com and send us a message in any channel there, and you will be sent a form. Send us a message, we'll give you the form, and we'll get you an Arculus wallet. And don't forget, you can sign up for the Purple Wallet now. Pre-orders are live in the announcements channel. Thank you to everybody who has already pre-ordered their Arculus wallet. We heard from a lot of folks. Jason Solom Spartum, who is delightful, even more in person, that he has already bought several. He was at the Arculus booth telling them, I don't see the wallet that I want here. The only Arculus wallet I want.
Oh,
sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Whoa, just rugged me while I was paying homage to Jason. He got 3 different purple wallets. He said, because that's the only one I want. And he told the Arculus people about it. So thank you, Jason.
Oh, I was just about to help Beloved see the link. Can you bring it up one more time?
Yes, I can show you the link.
Yeah, Jason gets a shout out for going right up to the Arculus booth on the consensus floor and being like, I'm interested in a very particular wallet.
Yeah, that's right. That's what he said.
Come in purple. And Ezra was like, you must be a Rise Up fan.
Alex was like, Jason, they're going to think we paid you to do that.
Yeah. I'm interested in a particular.
Well, and then I was really sad not to get to talk to this particular person. Hi, Darcy. Who came up. We walked up to the Paxoth booth and we were talking to somebody. Oh, yeah. And she came up just for the briefest of seconds to say that she followed us and was a big fan. And then she got away before I could say anything. And I didn't see her again.
Yeah, we were distracted, and really, Alex, you were right. He said, when Darcy came over, we should have stopped talking to Lauren at the Paxos booth because she wasn't going anywhere. We really should have talked to Darcy.
She was a captive audience.
Darcy, I'm sorry. And if you are listening to this, I hope you will say hi again. Send us a message in the community or in the comments. And heck, if you want to come on the show sometime and talk about what you've learned, we'd be glad to have you. Really, truly, the people watching, you're the best part of what we do. So thank you. Fellas, I am going to invite you to give a final thought before we ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. And Will, since you've been quiet tonight, I've been kind of rugging you. I'm sorry about it. I'm coming to you first.
Beautiful. Insightful, concise.
That's what I'm here for.
Really,
all
all
you
can
to
ask
do.
for.
That's what I'm here to do. No, let's. My final thoughts will be. Let's take a look at Morpho. So.
Yeah. Morpho, good. I wasn't going to ask you. So we're already at time, but this is great.
Relax, my God. No, I'm sorry. I'm just teasing you. Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I'm glad.
No. I appreciate the hype.
I know you like to get to bed on time, but
I do like to get on bed on time because these 5 a.m. wake ups. Anyway, Morpho is in this upwards channel. Channels that are slanting to the upside tend to break to the downside, just FYI. So if we zoom in at the short term for Morpho, we see that today's candle was a big bearish break. So the 21-day exponential moving average broke. Maybe I overemphasize. It's a bearish break. It's a bearish break of the 21-day exponential moving average. We should see Morpho at the very least come down to $1.89. However, like I said, we are in this upwards channel, which tend to break to the downside. If we pull up to the weekly chart now, this is going to be more impactful. So let's go to the weekly chart. Morpho is actually sitting in a decent spot of support here. So we have this entire big batch of support that, as you can see, current price is just kind of sitting in at what is essentially $2. So this is a potential area for Morpho to bounce. But if we come here to our indicators, I see that we're nowhere near oversold territory for the weekly chart. I love to buy something I believe in when it's oversold on the weekly chart. And if we have a local top for Bitcoin, oil starts to go higher, we could very realistically see Morpho start to have a break here. Now, the key level to keep your eyes on is this like smashing together of multiple lines of resistance here. So we can see the bottom line of our channel is lined up directly with the 21-week, this yellow line, the 55-week exponential moving average as well. If we were to drop like a rock right now, this would be $1.71. If it's next week, because it's slanting a little bit, that goes up to about $1.76 or so. Okay, so $1.70 to $1.80. That is your key line of support that you need to absolutely unequivocally see Morpho hold. My personal opinion, if we go down to that level, we will absolutely break lower. The targets for breaking lower, honestly, a little hard for me to say, but let's just go with a very conservative target. Very conservative target. I don't know if I necessarily believe that. So TA would say it's about down to $1. That could happen. But if we zoom out to Morpho lifetime, we go to the first week that Morpho was trading, we can see that there's a line of support here that Morpho's clearly been respecting. And that is at $1.17. Okay. So if you have a break of $1.70 to $1.80 of support, you could realistically see a fall. I'm going to give you a couple areas where you might want to put buy orders. So we see a batch of consolidation here that is really concentrated at $1.40. And we can see that it's also the top of this range. And also it's where Morpho bounced before. So that's at $1.40. So that'd be the next most obvious place that Morpho would fall. It could get caught at $1.40. If not, the next fall is very clearly to $1.17. The technical analysis breakout is $1. Maybe you have a flash wick down to $1. Okay. So if you're looking to set up long-term buys for Morpho, set a limit order at $1, set one at $1.18, set another at $1.42 would be my personal non-professional advice, kind of advice in terms of like, that's what I would be doing. Okay. And that's what we're looking at for Morpho. If $1.81 holds as support, you could maybe see a move back up to $2.50, but personally not something I'm expecting right now with the bearish macro tailwinds that we have. And that is your Morpho. And that, or those are my final thoughts.
Beautiful.
All right.
Thank you very much. Alex, have you got a final thought, a last question, good joke, suggestion, word of wisdom, prediction, or suggestion for how to leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts for the audience?
Nice.
Oh boy. Well,
big gulps, huh?
Yep.
Big gulps.
Could be the move.
No,
I would just say, listen, a couple asks from me to you as you find yourself in other crypto live streams. Ask tougher questions of the creators who are pontificating in your general direction. Questions like, especially if we're talking about them being excited about clarity, why? What is it about this bill?
Why?
That really gooses your gander?
Tell me
And
why.
and what gets you going? Because there's no yield on passive balances. That's a miss. DeFi is kneecapped. That's a miss. There's no ethics provision. That's a miss. It's 309 pages of legal gobbledygook. What could you possibly be excited about? So ask that. They won't be able to answer because they didn't read it. A note to creators, if you're watching, read the damn bill or just don't talk about it. That's fine too. You don't have to be into policy. Policy sucks. It's awful and boring. And you have to read like a lot of stuff and you got to watch C-SPAN and listen to senators talk. It sucks.
Gross.
Yeah, gross. But you don't get to lecture people about it if you can't read the bill. So don't do that. Otherwise, I know we were like going back and forth with all these price predictions and all this nonsense. I uncomfortably pulled some numbers straight out of my rear end, but like, all of this is the macro picture is bad. And there's really no semblance of like improvement anywhere close. So like, that's really the only thing I'm thinking about is like a lot of this stuff by any reasonable metric is still overvalued. When has that ever mattered in the history of this entire industry? So I guess that's probably not even worth talking about, but just remember, you don't have to buy anything you don't understand. You don't have to buy things that you feel uncomfortable about. You don't have to put your money into things that someone else is trying to tell you to put your money into. All these things can be true, especially given how far back we're walking this entire industry, given what the current administration is hell-bent on doing to enrich itself. We're like getting earlier. The more time that goes on, you're like getting earlier to this thing having to re-go through a renaissance, as much as that's weird to say. And then finally, save yourself the headache. And unless you are comfortable gambling on the most like rigged game in the history of rigged games, just don't buy any tokens whose contract address ends in pump.
Please.
Just don't do it.
Don't.
Also, when someone says no one's ever done this before, we're different, just, standard general rules of thumb to be like, maybe not this one. Kind of like when something's like, we're the Bitcoin of Japan, and you're like, maybe not this one.
Maybe not this one.
Maybe
Yeah,
not this
listen to, but who says the quote? There's a very famous quote, like, when people tell you who they are, believe them.
I read it on one of those live, laugh, love signs one time.
I know. It's quoted everywhere. It's in so many bathrooms, but it's a good one.
So many bathrooms. Horror. The horror.
When someone confesses to a crime on live stream and then denigrates their entire community on the same time, like, just, click out of that one and don't give that idiot any more of your attention because they don't deserve it.
Well said, my friend. Okay.
Radio Dan's final thought. What's the culture in jail? Great question, Dan.
Great question.
I did it for the culture, he said. Oh my goodness. Crypto babysitting has a really good point here about everybody who wants their bags to pump. It is not a good reason to buy something because more people on TikTok or Facebook or wherever said it was going to go up than said it was going to go down. Opinions are like, what? Everybody's got them and most of them stink. So watch out. If it seems like someone's trying to sell you something, they probably are.
Yep.
My final thought is going to be to give a couple of quick plugs. The first one is to my good friends over at Pizza DAO. Somebody assist me with a screen share because I am showing you. This is the official. If you want to RSV pizza to the Global Pizza Party, it is live now at rsv.pizza. I'm not joking. That's the URL. This is the Global Pizza Party happening in Memphis. We're going to be next Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. at Coffee Black, my neighborhood coffee shop. Unapologetic is hosting a cipher there, and all the sponsors are doing cool stuff, including, we got to give a shout out to Digital Spenders Club. Hang on, I'm bringing up another screen share because I want you to see this fire merch. Here it comes. Look at this. They're sending out merch packages with branded pizza boxes.
Ooh.
For thank you, Laszlo. Jeremy delivered the $1 billion pizza, 10,000 Bitcoin pizzas, 2 large pizzas for 10,000 BTC shirts. Look at that shirt. That is so excellent. And some killer sticker packs. So thank you to Digital Spenders Club for being on top of the merch game. And I also must highlight just Pizza DAO, the Mafia. You can check them out at pizza_DAO on Instagram. Or if you just Google search Pizza DAO or look at the RSV Pizza website, you'll find a link to join their Discord where anybody and everyone is welcome to participate in the Pizza Mafia. They want to give away pizza for free. They're going to be in 690 cities this year, and they would love to be in yours. And Will, I'm so sorry to do this to you, but I've got to give one more screen share. This one is an ask. We highlighted the announcement from Raposa Coffee at Accelerate that they were going to be the official coffee partner of the Miami Heat and the Miami Marlins. This is an NFT project from back in the day that had a real business plan to import and now to roast and distribute coffee. They were doing branded coffee at events for crypto companies like Kraken, like Jito, like Soulflare at Solana, Accelerate at ETH Denver. They've done many events for a long time, and now they're hitting the big time, the consumer time. And they happen to be on TikTok at Raposa Coffee. So if you have your thumbs at the ready and you want to do another service, but you can't figure out the way to leave me a 5-star podcast review, darn it, then just tell Raposa Coffee. Come on the Rise Up Morning Show. Come on Rise Up After Dark. Check out the Rise Up guys and tag us, because I have a vision where every episode of After Dark will come with a case of perhaps Crackachinos or maybe Jito co-branded coffees. I don't know. Maybe the Arculus Americano. I don't know. But we need to make it happen, and we want Raposa Coffee Company to be on the show. We want to help them grow on TikTok. So let them know. Congratulations on their partnership. And then come back tomorrow, because we've got one more episode of Rise Up to close out the week. Then we'll have office hours in the community. We'll have Q&A in the community. We can't wait. And everybody, until then, we appreciate you. Thank you for being the very best part of what we do. Stay safe, my friends. Be well. All of you. Except for Mexi. Rise up.